morning.
Hi, Peter. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Unfortunately, only the two of us again, because the one who didn't manage last week, we skipped for this week, but doesn't work again. So us two, but next week we'll have someone else.
You know, I have to say one thing, my dear Armin. Last time you wrote, it's just us. No,
Yep.
it's not just us.
It's just us.
It's not just us. It's
Yes.
us.
No, it's just us.
And
usually
today you said, oh, it's just us and so on. No, it's not
because
just us.
Most people like when we have a guest here and have something to talk. Most of our viewers like when we have someone invited and they hear something different than our granting old grandpa rambling all day long.
Yeah, but you shouldn't make yourself down.
It's fine.
It's not just us, it's us.
It's us. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's us, the Bowman from Austria and me.
Yeah. And you know, I have to say, maybe some of our viewers don't know. The Armin from Malta, originating from Bavaria, Germany, is a very old archer. He looks just young, but he's a very old archer. And he knows a lot about archery.
He can even shoot 3 fingers, Mediterranean.
Yeah, and thumb, there's beginner archery with thumb and Slavic and Siberian and Osman and everything, and Ottoman and Arabic and Saracen, and he's a kind of Disneyland of releases.
the Leatherman tool.
The Leatherman of archery release. Yeah, and the Bowman is a simple guy. He is just stubborn. He likes straight bows, efficient shooting, and okay, so everything is okay. So you should really admire what we have to say and to tell you. And so today, I don't know, Armin had no idea. I had also no idea, but we came to the conclusion, maybe we should talk about aiming in archery and so-called instinctive or intuitive, or I don't know how to call it, archery. Yeah.
Aiming. Aimless.
Aimless.
Aimless shooting.
Yeah. So what are the benefits or the drawbacks of both of these techniques? Everyone likes to hit the mark. That's obvious, no?
Yeah.
So there are people around, I like to call it gun barreling over the arrow and raising the arrow and say, okay, it's about so, and then I release and the arrow will hit the target.
Yep.
And the other people, they just look at the target and draw and shoot. And so what are the differences? The difference is obvious.
No.
The one aims, kind of aims, and the other one just looks at the target.
Exactly. The thing is, when you aim, when you look, or let's say you as you said, you look over the arrow, then you need to know the distance, I guess, to the target, or you need to at least be able to estimate the distance, because you have a certain distance when you aim like this, then okay, and I aim at the center, with this poundage of my bow, with this weight of the arrow at 25 meters, I will hit the center. But is the target now closer? Then I need to know how much lower I need to aim. And is the target further away? I need to know how much higher I need to aim. So on this, for a minute works. And I guess at the end, it's maybe more accurate if you aim. Yeah. But it takes you need to have this distance, and you need to either know. I mean, I had this at the range, then they tell you, how far is this target away? So this one is 10 meters, this is 20, this is 30. Okay, so and then he gets used to it. With instinctive archers, right. Nobody ever asked me how far is the target away. They simply point at the target, draw and shoot at 10 meters and at 20 and then at 30.
I agree. I totally agree. But if you think about that, so this guy using the technique you just talked about, you say he has to know about the distance to the target. That's true. How can he know the distance to the target?
Judging in steps or and not in meters, most probably, what he would use as steps, and you can maybe estimate, okay, this is 15 steps, this is 25, so he needs to estimate. But for me, they always ask, okay, how far is it away? Especially when you have someone who has sights on it, that said he needs to adjust the sights, complete different league. But the ones, they like kind of the Olympic, they look over the arrow. Of course, they have both eyes open, always close one eye to make a point. They look with both eyes, but they aim over the arrow. So they use the arrow for aiming. And then you need to know the distance, that you know, okay, how much lower I need to point at 10 meters and how much higher I need to point at 30, depending on whatever you bow you shoot.
I understand.
That's, for me, too much thinking.
Yeah, and I agree with you, because I like to say the other archer, which is not conscientious aiming or conscientious. I don't know. I'm not so good in English.
Ask Ken Fittich, he can help you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He can. He's good in English. He help. Yeah. 12 years old.
Scottish English.
Yeah, it's fine.
Or you have to.
We will understand you. Don't worry.
Yeah, but you're right, and so you do it all on purpose. So you look at your target, you raise your bow, you draw your arrow, and then you judge your elevation and the distance to the target and so on, and then you let fly. And that works. No question about it.
I look there and I let my body do what needs to be done. But of course, it needs practice before that. You know what your bow is doing, what the arrows are doing. So you need to shoot first a few arrows that you get this intuition. It's not instinctive, maybe it's intuitive, but it needs training.
And it works.
Of course.
And it works, especially if you have a lot of time to do it.
The first version with aiming.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, the other archer who is just looking at the target, fixing the target and shooting so-called instinctively. Yeah. We talked about before, I hate the...
Then call it intuitive, even if you don't like this either.
It's the same shit, but
and then check aimless.
Aimless is also not
How
true.
do you throw a stone? When you throw a stone at something, how do you call this? Because you only look at where you want to throw the stone.
That's a problem. You don't call it somehow. You just throw a stone.
Just shoot. So we just shoot an arrow. The other ones aim.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I like to correct it. There's no bad thing with aiming.
Not at all.
And I would say, if you're shooting a bow and arrow, a pistol, a rifle, up to, let's say, 30 meters, it's the same thing.
Yep.
You really don't need to aim. If you're practicing this, you will raise your rifle, you will raise your pistol, you will raise your bow, and with some, problems or differences, or how you call it, I don't know, you will hit the target somewhere, and that's okay. If you're shooting far, if you're shooting 50 meters or yards and more, of course you
then
can't.
It makes sense to aim.
Yeah, and if you raise your bow, of course you have to raise up. Say, oh, I think that's okay, and then you release. That's no question about it. But I don't know. You have to have the feeling inside you, or I don't know how to describe it. It's like, with knife throwing or so, you can't aim, or with dart throwing, you can't really aim. And I think a good dart or the knife thrower, okay, he's good at 5 meters or 3 meters with the darts, or 2 meters, but here's an idea how the dart is working, how the dart is flying. So a good dart thrower, I'm sure he also could hit some target in 10 meters if he's practicing it a little and so on. So that's a very difficult thing. If you're connected or depending on gun barreling or aiming over the arrow, then at some point you're lost, because I think it should be a kind of feeling, a kind of, like knife throwing.
Yeah, it's one thing is distance, and the other thing is, I mean, of course, doesn't happen with normal target archers, but the target could move. When you see in warfare, your enemy is not standing there and waiting. The arrow, the target is moving. And when you start aiming and shooting at the moving target, you have a hard time, I guess. So that's really instinct, boom, for me. Or if you aim, if you move, imagine on a horse, you're a horse rider and you shoot a fixed target, try to aim. Not possible, I guess.
I like to say most people, and that's one thing I also have in my Bowman books, most people will underestimate a bow and an arrow because they think it's a slow weapon. Because they're thinking about Olympic archery, they have to aim for half a minute and then they release and so on. But if you think about it, when I was in China with these falling rings, and these rings were visible in 0.4, not in 4, 0.8 seconds. So it's very fast. So when I would go into a kind of combat situation and there are 3 people with a Kalashnikov or a Glock, or and one guy is there with a long bow and an arrow on the bow, I would say, keep down your weapons. So I would have a close look on the Kalashnikov guys, but not on the bow guy, because they think, okay, he has to raise the bow, then to aim, and then to shoot, and so. And that's not true. If you're comfortable with fast shooting, you can shoot very fast.
Of course.
And not just shoot very fast, but pick up a spot and shoot very fast and hit it.
Of course.
And so,
because it's in your, let's call it again, intuition and muscle memory.
Yeah, and that works, in my opinion, up to 20 meters.
20, 30 meters, depending on practicing. I would not go further than 30. gets difficult.
I would say 15 meters, if you like to be sure.
Yeah.
But okay, and everything farther than 20, then it's another thing,
yeah.
and another situation, you know. And so I think bow and arrow is a kind of underestimated as a weapon today, especially today, because back then, you know, that female warriors and they knew how dangerous bow and arrow could be.
Yep.
And also male warriors,
we
if they
had
were
to,
so. Yeah. Yeah. So in close combat, if you throw an axe or a knife or shooting a bow, it's the same. Or you know, we have a colt. It's the same thing. As fast as if one is used to and practiced this thing, it's hard to beat it.
Yep.
Yeah. And it would be the same with a boomerang or, you know, a kind of club you throw or something. Yeah. So, in my opinion, if you don't aim over the arrow or with any kind of sight or, you know, on the bow, marking on the bow, just looking at the dot, at the point on the target, and you can do it up to, let's say, 20, or as you say, maybe 30 meters, depending on the strength of the bow and the weight of the arrow and so on. And just then you start kind of aim, because you know your stuff, you know your equipment, you know your tackle, you know how is your arrow and your bow and so on. And then you say, okay, that's the thing. I'm shooting straight at this distance and I will hit everything. Let's say 50 by 50 centimeters. That's enough for combat. That's enough for Olympic archery, if you're, you know, not Olympic, but, you know. And then you're starting to think, but if you know all this up to 20, 30 meters, then it's easy to say, okay, I race, and that's not conscious, but you will do it. You will just do it because you know these lower distances, these shorter distances, and then you can also shoot at 50 yards.
Yeah.
I think so.
What happens to me when I shoot longer distance, I glance quickly over the shaft, that the shaft is in line with the target. I don't aim over the tip of the arrow because I don't have this anchor point, so that doesn't make sense for me when I draw here. But I glance quickly, I look at the target, and kind of like with a second, you don't even look there, but you realize, okay, the arrow points in the direction, and then I only need to adjust the height and let go. So this is a small, I don't want to call it now split vision because it's something different, but I am aware when I look at the target, I see the arrow shaft in my peripheral view.
Let's say it like that. What they, you know, only old archers like we are know it. They called it point blank range, where you're shooting directly at the target, not having any elevation of the bow or arrow. And everything which is above or far away than this point blank and it's not just looking over the arrow, it's again like also in closer distance or short distance, you have an impression of the whole scenery. And you act appropriate according to these circumstances. Because the other thing is, because I think we have a lot of viewers, they are 3D archers, but it's a difference if you're shooting straight down or straight up, and and from the darkness into the light, or from the light into the darkness, and so on. So it's very difficult in that sense, and you only can come by this fuck if you do it a lot, if you train it all.
Yeah.
Because your brain will work out the program, and you will don't know, you're gonna don't know if I'm standing in the light and shooting into the darkness. You don't will think about, oh, I'm standing in the light and I'm shooting in the darkness, or the opposite, but your brain will do it if you train it enough. So it's all about training, with knife throwing, with archery, with pistol shooting, with everything.
It needs a certain amount of repetition, that your subconsciousness has something to play with. It needs material, it needs numbers.
Because with firearms, the same is true. If you're shooting uphill or downhill, or light to darkness, and the opposite, it's the same thing. You get confused if you're just doing it the first time. But if you're doing it a lot of times, your brain will compensate all these different parameters or vectors.
And the benefit of shooting bow and arrow instead of a gun is that you can follow the flight of the arrow, because you pre-visualize the flight and you see it already flying directly in the center, and then you shoot, and then you see the arrow and it goes a little to the right and a little low. You don't need to do anything. Your subconsciousness will know, because it will bring these two together.
You're right.
In gun shooting, you don't see it.
I don't know the right term in English, but if you think about, you're right. But if you think about, if you have this flare ammunition, the meshing thing, you also can track the ballistics, and so that, and when I made in Austria, you have to make a hunting permit. So you have to shoot at 100 meters on a roebuck target, and you have to at least these hits and so on, and also shotgun shooting for the trap shooting. And what I always criticized is the first step with this shotgun shooting should be a kind of, cardboard target at 10 or 20 meters, and you shoot just at the cardboard, so you see where the shotgun is shooting, how it is shooting, in which direction, because every shotgun is a kind of different, and so on. And but they started shoot at the gay pigeons, trap shooting. Of course, you get into and you will hit them and so on. But the first step should be, and that's the same thing what I say with archery. I say, okay, let's shoot at 3 meters.
Yes, exactly.
So you see where the bow is, or where are you, how you are shooting. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Because a shotgun is very, most people think a shotgun will shoot like a funnel out the slit, and so, but that's not true. It's like a kind of a fist size thing.
Yeah.
So you have to be on target also with a shotgun.
Of course. You manage with a microphone and your cigarette?
It's on the wrong side.
Yeah. See, guys, he was listening because audio was so bad the last 2 times. Now he bought a new microphone headset for you.
Headset, yeah.
Why do you always use these harsh words? Do they make you feel better?
Because I'm angry, because I bought this other headset just when we started 1 year ago.
Not even a year ago,
Yeah. And now I bought the gay small one, and it's a microphone on the other side. So I have to drink with the left.
Ooh, comes from the heart.
What else is important for if you like to become, I think a lot of our viewers like to learn about archery in prepping and combat and so on. So what else is important?
I would say always the same equipment for the beginning. Not like me shooting every week 3 different bows, 5 different arrows, that you have one bow and one set of arrows which you shoot all the time, that you get used to it, that your muscle memory has something, at least a few less things they are not, or how to calculate, that you always shoot the same bow, the same arrows for the first 2,000-3,000 shots, and then you can change.
I kind of agree. I agree. Be confident with your own tackle. And it doesn't matter if it's a kind of gay Asiatic bow or a long bow.
Why do you say that all the time?
Or a compound bow.
Tell me, Peter, why do you say always gay?
Because it's so small.
My Manchu bow is longer than your little illy bow, your little toothpick.
Yes, it's just fun. It doesn't matter if it's a recurve bow, if it's an Asiatic kind bow, if it's a long bow, if it's a compound bow, if it's a Yomi or every kind of bow. The best thing, if you really like to hit your target, is to feel confident, to know in my hand I have the best bow. It's my best working tool I can ever imagine.
Can be a snake bow, doesn't matter.
Yeah. I guess for everything.
And for the beginning, but we spoke already.
And it's not about fancy veneers, and it's not about all that stuff.
Can be black on one side, can be white on the other side.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And if you think about the Navy SEALs or so, on the other hand, you have to be able to pick up every bow from the ground
later. Yeah.
Later. And to use it.
Yeah, but first you need your muscle memory. I think you need first muscle memory. And for this is the best, you have a not too high poundage bow, and you practice. 3 meters is fine, 2 meters is fine. That your repetition is the key to success in every art, and in archery the same.
You should.
And once you have this settled, that you can really wake up in the night at 3 o'clock, bow and arrow, zack, boom, hit the center. Then you're ready, then pick up something else, shoot different arrows, shoot different bows, and then you're capable of picking every bow up later down the road and shoot good with it. Maybe not that perfect, but at least good with it, because you know, okay, how does it feel? How heavy is the arrow? And you know what you have to do. But you need to build up the base of the foundation.
So don't start with a bow heavier than 70 pounds. It's stupid if you start with a bow heavier than 70 pounds.
Yeah,
so
I would
start with a bow about
68 pounds.
Yeah, no. I'd say, and we talked about before in other shows, when we started archery, and you know it for sure, women started with 40 pounds and men with 50. That was the common thing, and
that was the rule for 3D or for field archery, that the female had 40 pound and the male 50 pound. But I guess most of them didn't start with a 50 pound bow. I think the majority starts with a weaker bow first to get the technique done, at least if they listen to me.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen very often because there's too much mail and too much cockery around. And of course, a 30-pound bow, I'm such a tough guy. Look at me. I need a 60-pound bow directly because I'm so tough. Yeah.
You're right. And if I can give any recommendation, buy one of these 25-pound Arc Roland snake bows.
The right one, not the fake copies from China and Pakistan.
Yeah.
We heard that you get a brain damage when you shoot it.
Yeah. And shoot it. And you don't invest a lot of money, and you don't need 30 arrows, you need 6 arrows. 6 arrows and a target.
Yeah. And you can even shoot at home. It hasn't, when you have a normal target or cardboard, it's loud, but simply use one of these linen sacks, fill it with old t-shirts or something. You shoot at it, you don't even hear it. It makes plop. You can pull the arrows easy out, and then 2 meters is enough. People always say, I can't go to the range. I can't practice. You can practice at home. You need 2 meter distance to the target, and you can shoot.
That's, I like to kind of underline what you're saying.
Okay, thank you.
It's not the first time since now it's a 50th podcast.
And now finally he agrees.
Now finally I'm first time I'm saying I'm agreeing with Armin and underlining. And
thank you, Glenn, Mr. Glenn Fittich. You did a good job.
Most people think I'm going to practice archery and now I have to shoot 20 meters, 30 meters or so. No, start with 3 meters. And I just, because it's our 50th anniversary podcast, I have to say, I have to re-explain the method I'm teaching all of my students, how you can learn archery. Put up an arrow stop about 80 centimeters by 80 centimeters, these foam targets, or I don't know, as you say, a kind of sack with you stuff the underwear of your bygone divorced women into, and I don't know, and make a dot.
Small dot, exactly.
No. Make a big dot like that. I always say these paper plates, you get at the parties and okay. And never, and that's also was what Byron Ferguson says, he can't concentrate more than 3 shots, 3 arrows. So you have this paper plate, and you're standing in front of this paper plate from 3 meters, and you shoot 3 arrows. And if 1 arrow don't hit the paper plate, there's no reason to get any step further away. So you repeat it. And don't shoot 6 arrows, don't shoot 12 arrows, don't just 3.
3 arrows in a round, and I would say
you shoot it, and you shoot it, and you shoot. And if you're able to hit this paper plate every time with 3 arrows, then you're making 2 steps away from the target.
At least
do it again.
At least 10 times in a row. That you lead 30 arrows.
Let's say
something like this. I mean, we always at the range say, okay, if you want to shoot the 50-meter target, you have these small circles on it. They are 2.5 inches. I say, listen, when you shoot now, 5 times a group around like this, around this center, then you go on 15. Before it doesn't make sense. So, and when you repeat 10 times, shoot your 3 arrows in the paper plate, then go further away.
You're a tough guy. You're a tough guy, and you're right.
No, when you want to learn it properly.
You're right. But if of course, if the guy or the is hitting this paper plate by accident 3 times, so it's not he has to repeat it.
Yeah.
You're right. Not 10 times, but at least let's say 3 times. He's picking up the arrows and try it again, and so he's able to hit this paper plate every time.
Only 3 times you said, and then he moves forward.
Yeah, and then you're making 2 steps, so it's, let's say, 5 or 6 meters, and they do it again. So it is all the same. You're doing it up to like you want to get to. So if it's 30 meters, you like to be able to hit this paper plate, so do it up to 30. If it's 80 meters, so do it.
Yep. I would always say you step further away and then you shoot the plate, but when you miss it, you go back to the distance you were before. Because then you're not ready for the longer distance.
No, I don't agree.
No? Okay.
I don't agree. Because if you were able to hit this, let's say from 3 meters.
And you hit it from 5 meters.
And then you step away to 5 meters. So, okay, yes.
The first round, I give you 1 round.
But I like
warm-up round. On the distance, I give you 1 warm-up round, but in the second round, the second set of 3 arrows need to hit the paper plate. When it doesn't hit, go back to 3 meters because you're not ready.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I agree. So, okay. So that's the first step of learning archery.
Yep.
The next step is you replace the paper plate with 3 of these beer coasters. 1 above and 2 below. You're all like a triangle.
Triangle is always good. Yeah.
And then, I know, you like that.
The other way around. Yeah, I like these triangles more.
Yeah, I understand.
Of course.
But I'm okay. So you put the coaster up there and 2 up down there, and then you're done shooting 1 arrow at one target. Yes, you're shooting one arrow
one in each. Target. 1 in each. Yes.
Really. Exactly. You're shooting again 3 arrows, and every arrow you're aiming, let's say aiming at one of these 3. So, and that starts again with 3 meters and 5 meters and up to 80 meters if you like. So, if you can do it from 50 meters,
it's a matter of practice.
It's nice. And but there's no need to step 1 step farther if you don't able to hit all of these 3 coasters.
I can tell you one story. When we had a competition here, we had the 1-inch challenge, and it's simply a piece of foam like a yoga mat, and we cut out 1-inch hole and put it on a target. And I said, look, you stand only 1.5 arrow length away, so not 2 meters, let's say, and you need to shoot in this 1-inch hole. And then the good archers, yes, that's, this is childish stuff. So then show me. And they struggled. They didn't hit it because it's tough. But I would say, I would still put on this plate and on the coasters a small dot in the middle, because it's always aim small, miss small. I would always throw a small circle.
You're right. You're right, Armin. You're right. You're right. I said just coasters because they
have a printing on it. You find something,
and you find something. Maybe yes. But you're right. You're right. Absolutely
Look
right.
for the smallest possible.
And never go 1 step farther if you can't hit with all 3 arrows these coasters.
Yeah.
And the trick from switching from the 1 paper plate to the 3 coasters is you have, you know, if you get used to that paper plate, you will hit it. But if you have to change
You need to set up every shot new.
Yeah. So every time you're in a new situation, that's my best advice.
Yep.
And when you're ready with all this, if it's 10 meters you like to be able to from 10 meters or 20 or 80 or I don't know 150, it's up to you. Then you're starting again and you say, okay, now I like to do the same stuff from kneeling. I start from 3 meters. I'm knee down on my knees, one knee up and one knee like you, I don't know, and you do it. And you do it up to the distance you like to. Okay. And the next step is you're standing with the back at your target. And then you're turning around and shooting over your back and making the same. And then you're having a little bench and you're laying on your and your belly and the bow is absolutely horizontally and you're doing that. And then you're laying on your back and you're making it like that and so on. And then and if you can do this from 10 meters, let's say, you're a very confident archer. You can do everything.
Yeah. And it gives you this
That's
confidence.
my school of archery.
Yeah, makes sense. Because then you know, okay, I trained every possibility. So what else can challenge me now? I'm capable of doing it. And it gives you this confidence you need to have.
And I don't know if I ever said it before.
Most probably not, no.
No. Most probably not. But I tell you now one secret, one big secret.
Okay.
And that's true. That's not kind of bragging. I had about 2,000 to 3,000 archery students. That's true.
Yep.
And I don't know. One thing I told them was all this we said now, and the biggest secret is just to be confident. And we talked about before about handicapped people. I made archery schools with blind people.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's a real thing.
For me, one of the biggest secrets is that you do it every day for 15, 20 minutes. That's why it's so important that you have some small corner that you have a small corner in your house where you can shoot at least 2 meters, that you get this muscle memory trained. When you do it once a week, it's not so helpful. You can shoot once a week for 2 hours. You don't get there as if you do it every day for 10, 15 minutes. It helps you way better building up your muscle memory. And I speak of experience when I started playing guitar. I always had a hard time, and then I had it simply on the side of my desk at home where I was working in my office. And when I needed a break, I simply took the guitar and ding, 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 and fiddled every day 10, 15 minutes. And I improved way faster than if I would practice for 3 hours every 2 weeks. And even if you only draw your bow at home when you can't shoot, string your bow, stand in front of a mirror and draw your bow. Go through the shooting cycle, but don't release.
Okay, you're right. But I say one more easier task or how you call it, practice to do. If you're driving your car, if you, I think the best thing if I say if you're driving your car and you see a stop sign or you see, you know,
focus training,
if you see an O, if you see a kind of a dot, try to focus on it.
And keep your eyes on it for a few seconds.
Yeah.
Learn that.
And then you will know how it works. And that's the thing. And Fred Bear, for example, I know most of our viewers really don't know who Fred Bear is or was, but I like to say it. He said, if you like to shoot the deer, shoot the deer, don't look at the deer. You have to pick out one hair of the deer, one little tiny spot. And that's the whole secret of archery. And if you ever miss a target, you don't focus on a dot. You never focus on a dot.
And when you see that people nowadays, because their minds are so busy, and you see it with their eyes, they look and the eyes jump around. And even when you see them, they stand almost in full draw and the eyes look quickly away and then they look back to the target. It's a bad habit. And then, of course, you lose it because it's eye-hand coordination. And when you don't really look at the small spot, how can your hands know what to do?
Armin?
Yes, sir.
I'm sure I said it before, but I like to say it again.
Yes, do it again.
I had a kind of, she was a very beautiful girl. And it was a German television show. It's the, how is it called? Summer Garden or?
Summer Garden.
You know what I mean?
I think so. It comes on Sunday morning or something.
Not Summer Garden.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know. And from Germany, an agent called me and said me, yeah, we need a nice stand for a television show for this. I check it out. I don't know. It's Summer Garden or so. How so? And but I said, okay, I think about it. And they said, yeah, but we like to have a female actor or performer. And then I called a girl, beautiful girl. I'm sure you have a picture. You have seen a picture of her in my, because she was with me. Her name was Stiefson, was her second name. And I called her and I said, look, they need some kind of stunt. And I picked it up from Byron Ferguson because he had one stunt where he had a kind of bottle opener and he shot at the bottle opener and the Coke bottle opened and so on. And it was a kind of, how is it called? Guinness record. And they had 10 bottles. With the bottle openers on the Coke bottles, let's say. And I don't know how it's called. Summer Garden.
Doesn't matter, Peter.
Okay.
Come back to the story.
Okay. And what I want to say is that.
Thank you.
And I talk And I called her, and I said, her name was Natasha. I said, Natasha, you know, they like a woman, a beautiful woman. You are a beautiful woman.
Female warrior.
I'm not. So
definitely.
And I told him this stunt to open a bottle with an arrow shot, with the bottle opener on the, you know.
I understand.
Okay. And we talked about it. And I said, and you know, I will help you. I will guide you. I will train you until you go to that television show. I help you. Okay. And then, I don't know, I don't heard about it for 3 weeks. And then I heard about, okay, yes, she agreed to do it on the television show. And I have recorded it, be sure. And then she didn't resist because she's a kind of yoga trainer, and you know, you have to be in balance and yin and yang.
And what's the point?
You know, the point was she went to that
show,
summer garden, or
yes,
how
it
is
doesn't
it
matter. Still doesn't matter.
Yeah, and then this moderator, women talked to her, and so and then there was a kind of staging with 10 bottles with the bottle openers on, and she had to shoot on the bottle openers. So she should have, I don't know, to open 10 bottles in this time, and there were these Guinness judges, and you know, and the funny thing was that I like to tell it just because of that. She couldn't resist. They like to make a kind of portrait of her because to introduce her to that show.
Makes sense.
I said, I'm in balance, you know, I'm so cool, and I like, she was standing on one feet, and you know, this old yoga shit. And then
why is yoga shit? I'm just asking. And because you don't
yoga is
idea.
not shit. Yoga is not shit.
Yeah, the way you say
it. But that's what I want to tell you.
Okay.
And then she were at the shooting line. There were these 10 bottles, or I don't know. And she was standing there and has a side quiver and so on. And she was making so and looking, and this moderator fucking wife was talking, and so she was not able to hit, I don't know, 3 of these 10 stuffs, 10 targets. And the first thing was she didn't walk, so she didn't recognize that she has to shoot straight on each, you know, bottle opener.
Yeah.
And what I said before, if you're going to the shooting line, never look away from your target. And she looked down to the quiver. She looked down to the arrow. She looked down. She looked at the bow. She looked at that. She looked at that, and she looked at the talkers, and she looked at that, and she looked at that. What I want to say, she was destroyed there, and all her, what she said in the introduce, oh, I'm so imbalanced, and I'm, you know, all was destroyed.
Of course. But you know, on the other side, how tough it is to be on a stage where you have whatever 100 or 1,000 people watching you, and you need to perform what you can do at home blind, and there you start struggling.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, but I said to her, Natasha, I would help you. I go with you to that. I don't know where it was in Köln, or I don't know. And so they had gray targets in front of a gray background and so on, and stuff like that. If I would be the manager, I would say, no, that's not working. I don't never, and so on. But she didn't listen to me.
Yeah.
And so she destroyed herself with all her yoga, and I'm in balance, because she showed there that she's not in balance, and so she's not able to teach balance to anyone, to any other person.
But she learned a nice lesson there.
Yes, she's healed from television. That's true. That's sure. I don't know why I told you this.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know why I told you this.
Because why? I have no idea. Ask your friend, Mr. Glenn Fittich there. He can tell you.
Oh, okay. I have one. I should have another one.
Soon we are done today. Don't worry, you can go to bed.
No, what I wanted to say is, and you know, what I said to her before, I said, you know, there's not about aiming in this competition. It's not about if you're making just one line on your bow, and you know you connect that line with the target, so you're quite sure you will hit it, right? Because it's a fixed and a constant distance. But she didn't listen to me.
Then she learned a lesson.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she's healed from television, I'm sure.
Yet still, it's you know, it's of course it's always easy to blame the students that they don't listen. I always blame the teacher. He was not capable of explaining properly.
No,
of course you should have gone with her and see the setup and everything, and make sure that, and even stand on her side and tell her, listen, you focus now here, don't look simply do what we trained. She would have needed that.
You know, her boyfriend was an archery shop owner in Vienna. He's a nice guy. I like him and I know him and everything. And she trusted him more than me. But he never was on a television stage.
But you have no idea.
And I was before in China and in other occasions. I knew what is important.
Of course.
So the most important thing, if you like to get a famous archer, is to avoid terrible situations. Of course. And I said, use blunt arrows. Use this. Don't use that bottle openers, but use that ones, you know, with a wooden handle. And. So, and in the summary of these things, you're raising your success, of course, because the television people say, okay, why don't you use a bottle opener like this? And I say, no, I don't do it. I like a bottle opener like this, you know. And so they say, okay, no, so have it in between. So it's like this. So, okay, you have won. Because you made a bigger bottle opener possible than they liked, and a smaller one.
And you take out the risk, of course. You make your life easier.
If you agree with what they are giving you, then you lose.
Yeah.
And that's a simple, and there we are at Sun Tzu, at tactics, at strategies, and that was I saying. You know, and I have to say it, I had a lot to do with television people. They like to fuck you in the ass. They like
to see you fail.
Make you look bad.
Of course.
And you know it. Byron Ferguson said the same. They like to look bad. They like you to look bad. And if you don't very aware what is going on, they say, oh, shoot at that target.
Yeah.
And maybe you can't hit it. And then in the television, they will say, oh, he can't hit it. What an asshole. And so you have to say, no, I don't shoot at that target. I shoot at that target.
Of course.
And that's the stuff. And she thought she could do it with her,
yoga,
tits and a little short skirt and so on. That's okay. But you have to know these television fuckers.
Sure. But how was your first television show? How was your first ever television show? Did you know all this already?
No. But my first ever television show was in China. And no, that's not true. I had some before, but it doesn't count. It was a kind of rich.
Doesn't matter. It's a stage with audience and cameras. It counts.
Yeah, but that was a kind of situation you can't lose. So they were very nice and said, okay, shoot over there. And so that was not a problem. The real first television show was in China with a big audience. And in one how it is to say, in fact, of course, the television people like to have a good show. And that was the good thing in China, because they invited me from Austria and paid me a lot of money. So they had to make something,
of course,
with me. And I didn't I didn't disappointed them. But I knew I couldn't fly to China without the second person who will make pictures. Because I said, I can't fly over on my own, and I'm just there and nobody is making pictures and so on. So I had my good friend Heinz Hoffmann with me. I asked him and they paid for 2 persons, of course. And yeah, and they didn't believe me in the first case. The Chinese, they said, oh yeah, he likes to talk, he likes to make it for him better and so on. We talked about it before in other shows. And then on the next evening, the Zhang Chuanshan was there, the Olympic winner, and they saw, He was right yesterday evening. She couldn't hit any of the rings. And, you know, she was a better archer than me, of course. An Olympic Chinese Olympic game winner is,
you know, they train every day 8 hours. Yeah. What you never did. Yeah.
You are kind of, but with her equipment, she was very good. Because I had the better equipment for the moving shots. And in the first place, they didn't believe me when I said, "Oh, the rings are too heavy," and this and that. And then in the second evening, they saw Sang Chuan shooting at the rings, and she was not able to hit one of the rings. And then they believed me. And then we worked out how we can do it, because you never have to forget, a television show is not a competition. It is a show. And I said to them, if Sang Chuan hits 4 rings and I hit 3 rings, nobody likes to see it on television. We have to hit more rings, and it has to be interesting, and so on. And so then they believed me, and we worked it, and then we worked it out. And so in China, they didn't want to fuck me because they treated me like a big star. It was, I was kind of ashamed, because I was the big star, and their own big star, that Sang Chuan, they treated like, okay. But in Austrian television and in German television, I was also. And they tried to film something so you're looking stupid or bad. Maybe I told it once before. There was, okay, we make an interview and then you shoot and so on. And okay, we made that interview, and I said, no. I said, okay, let's talk before. What are we talking about in the interview? No, we don't talk before about, we do it now. Okay. And then it's, okay, now shoot. And I turned away and blew up a balloon, and they filmed me from the back. And then turned around and said, just a moment, why, if you like to film me, you have to say, Peter, we film you now when you're blowing up a balloon. And if not, fuck off. Why? We need it for, the between cuts and so. I said, no. You have to say it to me. And if you film me from behind, you shot me from behind and so on, that's not okay. And that's what they like to do. They like to make you look. In China, it was different because they had a big star on screen, Sang Chuan. They like to make me kind of bigger. So I was a good enemy of their part. But in Austrian or German television, they just like to film you and make you an idiot. Sorry, I'm talking too long, but
no, it's fine.
I don't know if everyone got this.
I think so, yeah.
And it's a big difference if I never was on American television, but I can say it from Chinese television. they like to make me a big star because her big star competed with me.
Of course.
And in Austria and Germany, they like to make you an idiot. And if they're able to, if you stumble or if you blew up a balloon, because everyone looks stupid if he's blowing up a balloon, of course. And I think, why are you feeling me?
Das ist nice German saying, der Prophet im eigenen Lande, ne? Zählt nicht.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can be anywhere in the
Maybe
world.
it's
And
also true in China. I don't know. But
it's like it is.
Yeah. And all I have to say, I was in, I don't know, I think in 5 to 6 television productions. The Chinese was the best, I have to say. But it's all lie. All is not true. It's all scripted. If you ever see something happen in a documentary, in a show, it's all scripted. And so many people think they saw a kind of show that, oh, that happened and that. No, that's scripted. That's scripted. So nothing in television is true. Nothing.
Oh yeah, you know, so they invited me once. That was the second time
was
already.
True.
No, they invited me for an interview because of archery and blah blah blah, and they simply put the target on the stage, a little on the side beside the camera. Didn't say anything. I simply put this target there, and then I came with my bow and showed and just strung the bow. And she was talking, yeah, you work with kids and blah. I said, yeah, we blah blah, and I answered all the questions. And then you said, yeah, no, there are different shooting techniques. And I simply stood up, and they didn't expect that, and I shot this target, and they all freaked out. But you know, that was true. It was not scripted.
Yeah. That's not what I wanted to say.
But then, of course, they didn't invite me anymore. Of course, yeah.
But if these people look into, you know, I don't know how to jungle camp or, you know,
yeah, of course,
people think that is all happening, but that is not happening.
Yes, of course.
And my biggest shame was once there's a show. It is called Naked in Austria. In Germany, it's Nackt ist Österreich. And I just got there because, you know, my companion in Korea, Wendy, Michaela Wolf, was there. The first sequence, she was in a kind of, how is it called? Riding stable, or I don't know, and she rode naked. And the fact was that she called me and said, Peter, would you come over? I have a whole shooting day with this ATV, Naked Austria, and make nice pictures, photos when I'm riding the horse and so on, naked. And so, of course, oh no, I don't like to do it, but okay. You kind of got me over. Okay, I made the picture and so on. And it, you know, I don't have, I can't talk along. No, I made these pictures, and then the next session was, there was a kind of walking on a mountain near Vienna, and there was a kind of talk master meeting Wendy, and it was so low, so you know, I don't know how you call it, so shit conversation. And then we went to mountain, and it was a kind of walking, and they said, why don't you could be the photographer, but you're also acting as a photographer and so on. So I don't like to talk on.
So you had to get undressed and play photographer naked then. How you like this?
The good thing was I wasn't undressed, but
understand.
You know, I don't know.
It's okay. But I have to say that it's the first podcast we have where we almost only were talking about archery, right? Not bad, huh? Not bad.
Yeah.
From the beginning, we were talking about archery. Until almost now.
Archery naked women.
They started now just.
I always said, you know, when there was they shot, you know, and they cut, and Wendy was still standing naked. It was in summer. And then we went to another location and so on and so on. And I said, Wendy, put on your how is it called? Bademantel, your bathing gown, or I don't know. Yeah, but it doesn't bother me if I'm naked and it's hot and so on. I said, Wendy, that's your secret weapon. Don't you understand? And I hate to say it, but I say it because Wendy never will see our podcast. I said, Wendy, next time when these television S-fuckers call you and say, come on your show, on our show, and stay and make naked fuck shit again, then you say, no, I will go to your show when I'm the moderator, or how is it called, the presenter, and I'm clothed and the other ones are naked. So you can step one, you can step above this.
Yep.
And she never got it. She never got it. It's like the same with Magen. Because her only weapon was to be naked. And she never made it one step.
But for some, it's enough, you know.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to step up the ladder and go somewhere. They simply
She wanted to step up, but she didn't understand it.
Grasp the point, yeah. Okay.
That, you know, it's like in the markets, in business, if you narrow the offers, you will raise in
the interest,
in value, in interest, yeah. But she's a wonderful lady,
and for sure nice to look at. Otherwise, I wouldn't have chosen her.
You have seen her?
You know, I don't remember all the girls. You have, you know, I never have photos with me and girls, but you only have photos with girls. That's why knowing which one is which, you know, can be a bit confusing for a simple guy like me, you know. For an Asiatic shooter, you know, with these gay bows, it's a bit hard to get the head around, you know, all these women around,
you know,
groupies and stuff.
You know, that Michaela Wendy traveled with me to South Korea. That was a kind of a genius. You have seen the pictures.
Because everybody took photos of her and you would stand beside her, obviously. Makes sense.
Yeah, I always said, I don't know how it is called in English. I always said, she's the Bowman's lametta.
Yeah, decoration.
And she was so wonderful. She's such a wonderful woman. No doubt about that. And we had a wonderful time there.
But you couldn't land on the other one, the other woman over there, on this Mongolian one, because they thought you are a friend with her.
Yeah.
Horrible. Huh? Yeah, it's not nice. Huh?
Yeah.
They didn't believe you. Huh?
Yeah. They sourced me out.
What you get when you come with a pretty girl. Yeah.
And you know,
no,
we had separate rooms in this Catholic, you know, and then it was kind of a mismanagement. I don't know, but they said, okay, yeah, now you have to drive to Seoul, and then in the next day, then your flight is going. And then we drove to Seoul in the middle of, from this place, it was the middle of the night or so. And then we were in a big hotel in Seoul city. And they said, now there are rooms, you know, this and that. And so, and then they like to part, they took us apart. They said, okay, so the women should have should sleep in one room and so on. And so they like to put Michaela in a room with other women. And then Michaela said, oh no. So I don't know that women, so I like to sleep with Peter in one room. So at least in one night we were in a, you know,
one room together,
double bed in one room together. Yeah.
No slippery details, please. It's not 18 plus.
There are no details.
Oh, no happy ending.
No. Yeah. I have to protect her.
Of course.
You know what? I thought she's a woman.
Good that you figured that out.
She's a woman. And I thought if she likes to have something with me,
she would tell you.
I would recognize,
Okay.
I would tell it. I would know it.
You would realize, okay.
I would realize it,
Makes sense. Good.
Yeah. Okay.
Enough storytelling. Shall we call it a day for today, huh? We told the people about archery a bit and about your girl stories. Slippery details.
How about your girl stories?
I have no girl stories. I should. How do you call them? Gay Asiatic pose. So don't expect too much from me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think you just love.
The thing is, you can talk about it or you do it, you know. And the guys that talk a lot about it, they usually
if you like to say I talk about it, then I'm angry because for usual I don't talk about it.
No, for usual not, but the Glenfiddich make him talk.
Glenfiddich.
Yeah.
Oh man, if I would really talk about it, you couldn't broadcast it.
I guess so. Yeah. But we can make an 80. We can make an 80 plus. Now we can make an 80 plus version, but not on YouTube.
I'm so happy. Today, my best friend Fritz from Tyrol visited me, and we talked about guns.
Nice.
We talked about bows.
Really?
We had a little Glenfiddich.
You talk about knives too, right?
Yeah, and he gave me that knife. So I'm the happiest man alive.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I had to ruin a new evening with this podcast, but you know, we have to do what we have to do.
Yeah. But I mean, I have really to say, you should take care, not to take care, but you should try to get more female warriors on our show.
Yeah, but you have the girl stories, you know. I don't know any female warriors. I only know Petra. And we get then, I said you from Germany, Annette Thun. She is very busy. She had 5look.com. I asked her, she is willing, but we need to talk that I know which spots are open and which are not. So that's why we have to have communication first.
Yeah, but I only know bendy women. You know that I know just bendy and relaxed women. You just know this feminist.
No, they are not feminists.
Lesbians.
No. Because I don't care about all these things. We talk about archery. And I don't care what orientation you are or what political and whatever you are, as long as you shoot some bow and arrow and you can tell us something. I don't care. You know, this is the base respect I have to everyone on this planet.
But I have to say.
Say it, and then we finish.
My dearest love, Mael, will join us in one of the next episodes in 2 weeks.
He will be happy, but maybe say no to Glenfiddich on this day, that we can understand you properly and we have a nice conversation going on.
You don't understand me.
It's just a little tough and a little slow today. Everything takes a little longer today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you don't realize, of course, this is, you know.
Okay.
That's why.
If I'm a little slower, then it is possible for the most people to understand me.
Because the internet connection is so slow. That's why you come to say.
Yeah, it's delayed.
Yeah, of course. Great. Yeah. But it's my. Can I tell you a secret? My behind is still virgin, so there is nothing going to happen.
Your what?
My behind is still virgin.
Really?
Yeah. It's an exit.
Maybe Mag and Klom could make you a kind of plug.
No, thank you. I'm not into this, but you can have one. Feel free. Out of an old Howard Hill style bow, you can have a plug as long as you want.
A bamboo plug.
Yeah, it can be as long as it tickles your ears. I don't care about these things, but I don't need these things.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You never know. You never know. You know, if you never had a real hill bow in your hand, you don't know what you're talking about.
I just hope that I get my hands on a good performing one very soon. And then I can tell you. And I know bows. It's not that I only know Asiatic bows. You know, I know bows.
Look at that elegant lines. Look at this bow.
Yeah. Lacks a little curves for me, but it's fine.
This is from the 1980s, made by Cherry Hill.
Yeah.
We can stop instantly, no problem.
Yeah.
Most people, most bowyers don't recognize what are the real features of a Howard Hill bow.
Simplicity, first of all.
Yeah, you're right.
In material, in
like
shape,
the Japanese.
And it's simply what needs to be there, and only this is there and not more.
Yeah.
So you could add a lot, but you can't take anything away.
Yeah.
I'm so good in this, I know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I bring a tear in your eye. I know. Oh, look at it.
Oh, yeah.
It gets emotional.
Man.
I know.
Oh, man, you make me cry. That's
true. It sounds a little gay, you know.
But that's true.
Yeah, I know.
And that's
the
going back to simplicity.
Yeah, exactly.
To reduction. To have not 1 millimeter more you need.
And as you said, or who said it, Saxon Pope, that a good bow is 7/8 broken in full draw.
Yeah.
So it only takes a little one, it would break.
No bowyer who is not your really personal friend will make your bow like this.
Because he's afraid that you break it. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're good friend with him, you will go with the broken bow to him and say, okay, guy, make me another one. And he, you know, and that's the point.
But so, but even the culture changed a little. When you see somebody has a problem with a bow, they take photos, but they don't send it to the company or to the bow builder. They need to post it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Look what happened to me, all crap. And then, I never buy a bow from there. You know, and I made a video about it. In every bow company I ever had,
not okay.
I had broken bows.
That's not okay. Because I don't have to post a picture of a broken bow, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, if it's a really bad company and there's hundreds of broken bows, like maybe bear bow, okay. Okay, I don't.
But they give you 30 years life warranty. You get even after 6 years a new bow. So
yeah, you get a new one, and the new one will break again. Okay, that's not. Okay,
no,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I have one student here. He bought 7 years ago a crow, a Bodnik bow, and it's still working. 30 pounds. He comes every week to shoot with it. Still works.
Yeah, if you're playing a lottery, there are also some, you know.
It's always every bow builder has broken bows. It depends.
I'm sorry.
9 bows out of 10 break or 1 out of 10.
What I said is bad. What I said is bad about Bodnik. There are good bows around, and so no question about it. But if you don't be a good friend with a bowyer, you will never get a good bow.
High performance.
You will get a good bow, but you never will get on the limits bow.
A 90% bow, but not 100%.
You will never get a Formula 1 bow.
Only Formula 3.
Yeah, and that's okay, because you can happy if you get a Formula 3 bow. But if you're a good friend, then this Saxon bow sayer is working. Okay, it's 78 broken and so on. And if it really breaks, you come to me. I make a new one, no problem. But I like to go to the border, to the frontier. Yeah,
this is what the bow is made for. A bow is not made to. Imagine you have a 28-inch draw bow and you only draw 20 inches. Doesn't make sense.
And you know, think about what this Craig Aiken, that Howardale Archery guy is saying. Sorry.
Yeah.
He says I don't know if I get it right. He says, I don't know what he says. He says,
I don't know either. So that's why I was interested now. Everybody's listening now.
Yeah. He says, every bow is, I don't know. I don't know. He says a kind of, he says, when you're ordering a bow with 60 pounds, it will shoot about 160 feet per second. If you buy 170 with 70 pounds and so on, like that. So he's saying it's 100 pounds is the kind of benchmark, and the more poundage you order, the more it is. And I can tell you one thing. I have here one, I'm not able to draw it again or any longer. I have one bow here from Jeff Chalacon from Australia. It's 65 pounds at 26 inches. This was my standard hunting and tournament bow. And this bow shoots a very heavy arrow with a, 190 grain broadhead, 200 feet per second. A hill style bow. And next time I show it to you. So these bows, and I mean, now you have to recognize it.
I do.
If you have a kind of, I don't know what kind of Asiatic bow with 34-inch draw, or I don't know. If you can say you have a 66-inch bow with a 26 or 28-inch draw, and this bow launches a heavy arrow with 200 feet per second, I don't need any recurve.
It's
you understand what I mean?
It's fully fine for you, but not for everyone, because we are all different. Otherwise, we would all shoot only Howard Hill longbows. How boring would that be?
All the people who don't shoot Howard Hill longbows have never shot them and experienced that.
I only can hope that I get a good performing one then. Not that I get now Howard Hill bow, which is a lame duck, and then I was like, what the heck?
I mean,
every cheap fiberglass bow from
if you don't get a good one, you will get a good one from me. Be sure. Be sure.
And then we talk.
Because
you want to convert me. I know you want to get rid of all these Asiatic bows, and you want to tell me it's fine. I have no problem.
No. This friend what visited me today, the Fritz from Tyrol. He had reflex, deflex longbows. He had that kind and that kind. And then one day he came to me and they gave him my Howard Hill longbow. I said, Fritz, shoot with that bow. And he said, wow. And, that's only happening with a good style,
of course,
with a real, because it's not to make a kind of look-alike Howard Hill longbow.
I understand that.
Yeah.
It needs to be from the core, the right bow. Otherwise, when you make a fakery, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, now he's getting tired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where's my Millie? Oh.
I don't know where Millie is. Millie and Vanilli. You need another cat called Vanilli. Then it's fine. Okay, so we did a nice 50th show, huh? Wonderful.
We didn't talk about real anniversary or fireworks and so on.
No, we don't have to. It's only 50.
I mean.
Yeah.
I send you the big sticker of fair bow. I think you did it right with it, but we have to put in another logo.
Then when you send me something, then I can put it in. When I don't have it, I can't put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. But you can send it tomorrow. I don't edit today anymore. Don't worry. First
sure.
go to bed and sleep a little, and tomorrow have a nice strong coffee, and then you send me the logo.
Don't be a mother to me, you asshole.
Me too. Yes, I love you too.
I love you.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. That you kept up with us for, I don't know, 1.5 or almost 2 hours. I have no idea what the time is now. Okay. And we see us next time.